Just yeah, that's not a 3/4 zip. That's a 1/8 zip right there.
It is.
Welcome to Covers His Puck Props with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo, the man who can eat a Caesar salad at 10 a.m. in 2 minutes. Well done, pal. Welcome to another week. February is almost in the book. That's insane how quickly this month's gone by. Revisiting last Friday's 5-pack, we had one game Friday, somehow slapped up 5 picks. 4 winners, with Netch's shots being the only one that didn't go. So
it wasn't Netch's. Oh, it was Netch's shot because wanted the puck line.
I think he got a goal or the point early.
I wanted the puck line. You said no. Let's go Netch's shots because I wanted to go first period, regulation, puck line, and then you had
no.
Yeah, it was your pick. It was your pick.
You wanted to go like money line regulation or something like that. I'm like, why would we go money line regulation?
No, I said first period, regulation, and puck line is what I said.
And then I'm like, we might as well go puck line and then puck line 2.5. We were very close to having like an 8-pack on that.
Oh,
game.
Buddy, we were really close to like raking it in, and then we had to put Netch's shots in there.
Don't you fucking belittle Netch's shots. God damn it. Welcome to the show, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Neil, Darren, FB Coach, let's cash. As Neil says, let's snipe that like button. If you're watching live right now or you're watching later in the day, let's go. Appreciate that. Thanks for the Velarde prediction last night. Sprinkled half unit. Yes, Velarde all of a sudden, like, we were on Velarde massively, and like he was one of the reasons why Winnipeg was winning games once Connor went out. Do you know his over 2.5 shots last night was plus 150?
What?
Yeah.
Plus 150? Why?
Yeah, he was minus 105 for a point. Finished with 3 points and 4 shots. We are back on the Velarde train whenever it comes back.
All right, we're back, baby.
Yeah, because hopefully it doesn't get adjusted that much. Because like during the run without Connor, that over 2.5 was like minus 150. We plummeted it, but
auto bet is what it was.
Yeah, but no, he's back and he's shooting and he's top line right now. And now Winnipeg's finally settled down. Their offense hadn't been scoring much. They'd been shooting, but they hadn't been scoring. But it's they found that chemistry. They found Monahan and Ehlers on that second line with Perfetti and the top line of Scheifele, Connor, and now Velarde. So let's keep that going. Let's get to a little 5-pack. We got 5 games on the slate today. Start off, obviously not in chronological order because that would be the smart thing to do. Again, all odds coming, sports interaction. Toronto, Arizona. I mean, that Matthews goal has moved a bit out of my range. Like, we're looking at like minus 160. That's tough. Why not go for 2 points? Plus 140. He returns home. We got the return home Arizona angle. He's sitting on 49 goals, 9 goals in his last 6 games, multi-point efforts in 5 of those 6. Now they face an Arizona team, Carlo, that is hot trash. 0-10 straight up. Just 1 point in those 10 games. Connor Ingram is out. Vejmelka, 4.58 goals against with an 878 save over his last 9 games. He's 0-7 in those games. Matthew Knies looking good on that top line now, all of a sudden getting some confidence. Guys like Kucherov, McKinnon, David, about minus 110 for 2 points. But in his current form, I see Matthews in that same area. You tell me. We know that Matthews is on an MVP push right now. You think he might not get to 70. You think the odds are better that he doesn't get to 70 than he does. Well, I heard you. And
where do you stand on that? I just think that like I'm always going to take the under in these situations because of how many things could factor into it, and I'm not trying to. I like the odds of him scoring 75 more than him scoring 65 or under. The odds, you mean?
Yeah. Like if you gave me those odds, if you had to choose between 65 and under or 75 plus, I'm taking 75 plus.
Well, on FanDuel, they have Austin Matthews specials. To score 75 plus is plus 1,200. To score 65 plus is minus 390.
But he's projecting for about 76 goals in that spot at his current pace. Obviously, it's a tough run, but Toronto's going to be down the stretch needing him to score. So I like Matthews here for this point. does the return to Arizona mean anything at this point for him? Or is that overshadowed by sitting at 49?
Well, we had David Alter on our show this morning, and he's in Arizona, and he was explaining to us how the buzz in Arizona is because there's an Arizona-born player that is dominating the National Hockey League, and that's Austin Matthews. So I think there is significance around this game and him sitting at 49 with the chance to score his 50th tonight in Arizona, a place that he's from. I think absolutely there has to be, some sort of recognition for that. And something that probably Matthews has a lot of pride about, right? I mean, he's always talked about his love for Arizona, the place that he grew up, not so much the Coyotes and their debacle that they got over there. But I think if, it could be sentimental for him too, like understanding the fact that he has a chance to score his 50th in his hometown tonight, where I'd expect a lot of his friends and family are going to be. Nice talked about how many friends and family are going to be there for him. He's an Arizona kid too. So there's going to be extra incentive tonight for the Maple Leafs. But if you heard my show this morning, there's a certain record that the Coyotes own against the Maple Leafs. Are you aware of the record over the last 20 years?
Not sure. I know they've won. I think they've won like 4 straight meetings, but
so Arizona against the Maple Leafs, and this is so bizarre that Arizona has this much of a lopsided record against the Maple Leafs. Since February 18th, 2004, that's 20 years ago, the Arizona Coyotes are 18-4-2 against the Maple Leafs.
That doesn't make any sense.
How does that make any sense?
I know the narrative of Toronto playing down to competition is a thing, and I think it's funny in your line of work. And I'm not saying you obviously, but in your line of work, you hear that a lot when like you have 6 guests on a day times 5 days. You hear it a lot. A lot of people aren't doing the actual work to look back and see what their record was versus teams like that. It takes a lot of time to work. And I think a lot of it, they're actually a decent team versus teams, let's say minus 300 or better. Okay. They're probably even on money. Like if you bet on them on the money line each time, but a lot of that is probably comes down to them keep losing to Arizona once a year as massive favorites. So I don't put much into it, especially the form of this Arizona team coming in and what all of a sudden Toronto is without anybody. I like that you guys talk about it, and you've said it. When you keep things simple in hockey, sometimes it's a better result. And without talent, sometimes this team all of a sudden looks different. You're like, oh shit. Oh, Bobby McMahon's all of a sudden like a guy that you're rooting for. And we haven't had guys to root for. His empty net goal was absolutely beautiful by the other way.
Oh, you talk about, Will?
Oh, that was it. That was like, that's what we wanted to see out of skaters. I love that. Looking at SIA right now, Sports Interaction, we got a price boost. Austin Matthews to record over 5.5 shots. That's boost to plus 235. So if he is shooting, that's something to look. He hasn't really been topping his over 4.5 shots, which is where that number is. But
yeah, because his shooting percentage has been so efficient. This guy's scoring every time he shoots. And as much as you like Austin Matthews' points tonight at plus money, there's a good argument to be made about that. I mean, how are we not auto betting him to score? I mean, the guy is on an absolute tear. And the fact that we're talking about 50 in Arizona, I mean, it's minus 130, I think. No?
Yeah. As we bring it up, single goal, Austin Matthews, 177. Let's bring that up. Yeah, minus 130 at Sports Interaction. That's kind of where the price buy is on Matthews right now. So if you're looking for pretty much the best price on the board, Sports Interaction there, minus 130 for a goal. I do like it, but it's just this matchup with how Arizona's playing right now and the comeback to Arizona, like the chance for 2 points in that top line to get some minutes is certainly there. Matthew Nyes, also Arizona boy, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
that.
like, there's a couple things. There's a couple angles here. I know we got to stay up late to count our chickens, but
oh man, tonight. That's gonna be a tough one today, man.
Yeah, no, let's just go to bed early and wake up. But no, let's go there. But did Sports Interaction open up a market for Knives, because he's not widely available everywhere? But if we can get him somewhere, his goal. What's his goal? Oh, he's way down the list. Come on, is he that far down? He's plus 340 for a goal. Nice, which isn't.
It's worth a shot, especially with the.
I'd prefer the point. I'd prefer the point at around minus 105 or even money though. But that's something to look at for sure.
For sure.
Philly, Chicago. Let's go. I love Torts because he blends his lines after losses and such so well that you can find value in spots like this, because it's not Couturier anymore with Konechny. Now it's Morgan Frost, and we're going Morgan Frost over 0.5 points, minus 105. If you know anything about Morgan Frost and his family, Carlo has probably heard his dad say his name during. He was the PA announcer.
Andy Frost,
yeah. He's a big.
And now, welcome to the ice, your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, so he's the man right now. He's centering Konechny, who's riding a 6-game point streak. He's centering PP1. We know that Philly coming off kind of an ugly loss in the outdoor game versus New Jersey, which was just that whole thing was just like so much Tommy DeVito. That whole stadium series, like the intros, they put Tommy DeVito. They ran the Tommy DeVito run-in on both games. I thought that was funny. but this is the center on PP1. Chicago bottom 10 in goals against, 3.56. And the thing I like about more points for Philadelphia, before Chicago couldn't score, so you're getting 3-1 games. You're getting 4-1 games.
Yeah.
But now with Bedsy back and the guy, kiss our Urson. Kiss every other Calder ticket that wasn't Bedard down the toilet, sadly, because he looks like he's just going to light it up. He looks better than he did before. But Frost, points in 4 of his last 5. Here's a quote for you. Torch said, the Chicago game scares the crud out of me. We're not going to be doing the postseason math right now with 25, 26 games. Obviously, he's preparing his team not to overlook this game. Right. What do you like about Philadelphia in a rebound game with a good coach?
Well, I mean, you got to like the fact that they'll rebound, considering that they're a very streaky team. They'll win 5, they'll lose 4, they'll win 5, they'll lose 3. They want some more consistency in their game, and considering the losses that they've had to endure last week, you'd have to think this is a game they're looking at that they must win. And sometimes these are the toughest games to play against teams that you should beat, because you don't play to that same level of compete that you should play at against better teams. So I like the bounce back factor. I like Philly's game a lot, even though in losses, they're still competing. They're still making life hard. I mean, you look at the 2 games between the Devils and the Leafs. They've just given up too much. And I think they'll tighten defensively against a Chicago team that doesn't really provide much of a threat offensively. And I like the fact that you found, the line angle here with Frost moving up to play with better players.
Yeah, just looking around, if you like Chicago to score, Sammy Urson they've been running him hard. Okay. He's a rookie. And I mean, that was part of our handicap when we liked him for the Calder, because he's going to get all these starts. But you looked at a little shaky versus New Jersey. He's coming off an outdoor game. And we talk about, I was telling everybody, those sight lines at MetLife or wherever it was.
Yeah.
They were awful, especially in that afternoon game when they scored 4 goals in the first period. Yeah. Like it was
tough.
Yeah, it was tough for any goalie in that spot. So, I mean, Nick Foligno plus 110 to get a point.
Terrible.
Anybody attached to Bedsy right now is almost worth a look. And I could see.
No, that's a good call. That's a good call.
I don't know what happened to Khrushchev. I'm not seeing him there. I don't know if he's banged up, but he could be. So that's something to look forward to, or something to look into if you're looking to get on the Chicago props. But Philly,
Hey,
Getting on that one.
Josh, just give me a sec. Carry this next conversation on. My alarm in my house just went off. I got to go turn it off. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
I got you. I carry you. We're down in the middle as we split over here. We'll go on this side. We've lost Carlo, the alarm. Thoughts and prayers to Carlo right now, but this is a brand new situation developing on Puck Props where things are going off. But hopefully everything's okay as I'm looking here at I just want to double check on the Kurashev injury because no, he's okay. So there might be something there with Kurashev. He's off. All right. Producer Mick doing his best to find me my best frame. He's like, nah, not that one. That one. He's like, yeah, he looks better in that one. So I appreciate it, Producer Mick. So there we are. Morgan Frost over 0.5 points, minus 105 in the Chicago Philly game. And we're going to jump over to the other one. Buffalo, Montreal. And I know Carlo's going to be sad to miss this one because this is his angle. I sent him the message this morning. I go, the Buffalo dads are on the trip right now on their 2-game road trip. He sends me a picture of a lock. And obviously we don't agree with locks, but we've talked about it a lot. What teams are doing with the mom and dad trips and how it's been motivating. Okay, breaking news. This just in. I think the Carlo Colaiacovo residency is safe. He's getting back. There he is. Okay. We got him back.
I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what happened there.
All right. Brett Armstrong does say Philip Kurashev illness will return to the Blackhawks lineup Friday versus Montreal. So, all right. So there we go. If we can find out who it could be Ty Johnson. I don't know who it is. We'll find out at the morning skate today. But there's some interesting news if we find out who jumps up to that line. Probably could be Radish. Beauvillier's back. I wonder if they give Beauvillier.
I saw they just put Zach Sanford on waivers too. So with Kurashev out and Zach Sanford out, it probably means they're calling somebody up.
They would have to, or they could be. They could go.
They sent Reichel down last week. Maybe they're calling him back up now that Bedard's back.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Not sure what we're looking at, but something to monitor, especially with how good that power plays look, because he'll probably slide in there. And like I said, attaching any egg to Connor Bedard right now is looking good. Matthews' first goal scorer, plus 550. I always find those funny, first goal scorers. I've never been like, oh, I got an edge for first goal scorer.
He scored the first goal in back-to-back games.
I know. Yeah, 550. It's not a... It's got to be the same price. 550's probably got to be the... No, he's probably only plus 350-ish to score two, sadly. But I was pumping your tires before you had to take your baseball bat and go upstairs and check on intruders.
No, it's my wife came in and the alarm went off because I had set it. So my bad. Sorry about that.
Go. Nice.
Yeah.
Buffalo's got the dads with them. The dads, the grandpas, and the mentors. 2-day trip. Buffalo coming off that ugly loss to Anaheim. They've just been a team that just looks good one game, bad the other, and they've just been inconsistent.
But isn't that the NHL though? I find that there's more than one team in the NHL that has that same sort of identity. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they get blown out by Florida tonight. You expect them to have a bounce back game against Ottawa, and they lose to Ottawa at home.
Needed Kucherov for a single point for a big winner. And couldn't get it. The guy threw up a donut, 0 shots. He took the day
against Ottawa, of all teams.
Took the day off. It made me super angry.
Yeah,
anyway,
hockey's been tough lately, man.
Montreal hasn't been great. Dropped 4 of its past 5, getting outscored 21-11 in those games. Buffalo won the January 4th meeting 6-1 in Montreal. But we're going Buffalo money line in regulation. Why? Because why not? More money. Let's go. Plus 120. Actually, Buffalo's 22. They got 22 wins. 20 have been in regulation. I don't like taking chalk for money line. I'd rather just take them in regulation. All right, here it is. What is it about dad's trips, mom's trips that is motivating? We saw St. Louis. I was doing some research. St. Louis is 10-2-1 with the dad-mom trips over their last 7 trips. So that's
there's actually stats that back that up.
I had to do a little digging. It's kind of all over the place. Chicago went 1-1 this year on the mom's trip. Florida, Tampa. They lost to Florida 4-3, but they beat up Tampa. Ottawa had success. Carolina had a run. Dallas just went 2-0 straight up with the Moms versus Nashville and Carolina, outscoring those two teams 13-4, and then they got beat up in their games after that.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense.
Explain it.
Well, the only thing I can explain about it is that obviously the mood around the team during those trips is obviously a lot better. I mean, you have your parents who these players dedicate a lot of their success to, right? And owe a lot of their success to because of the time and the sacrifice that the parents put in early on in their career. So you kind of want to play your best and put on a good show for the whole group that's there. It could be good mojo. It could be, good aura, whatever it is. Teams just seem to have more success when they have these type of trips. And I think Ottawa's another great example. You can look at the way their season has turned around, and it was turned around after their Moms trip where, you see the videos of the Moms participating in the pregame warm-ups, them doing post-game songs and stuff like that. There's just that feeling around the group that inspires the players to play a lot better, which is, you're always looking for different, especially in hockey, when you're playing almost every other day. The schedule is tough. It's tough
to motivate you.
Yeah, it's tough to handicap hockey on a nightly basis because sometimes the worst teams beat the best teams, depending on the day, the night, the schedule, the goalie, whatever it is. So you're looking for extra things outside of the game that may incentivize the result one way or another. And I think finding mentor trips, father's trips, mother's trips is a good angle to look at. And I think for Buffalo, considering how tough this season has been, maybe this is something the players are looking forward to, where they can just take, a step back and appreciate and enjoy just the moments that they get to share with their moms, their dads, or their mentors.
So Stern Co says Nashville had their dads in Vegas. And that was a game I absolutely wanted to circle for them to lose because their coach took away their U2 contract.
Pigeon move, by the way.
100%
pigeon move.
Bro, that's NCAA hockey coach move.
Oh yeah.
That's not what you do with grown adults.
It's
But they probably were profitable reselling those tickets on the secondary market anyway, though.
You hope so, because they're expensive tickets. They're $1,000 tickets.
But that wasn't an easy spot for Nashville to go in there and pull that off. So let's more power to that. Matthews' goal seems like such a chalk play. It absolutely is, JT. It absolutely is. But if we're projecting this guy to score at better than a 50%, like look at it as a coin flip. We'll say minus 115 is the price for the coin flip. Austin Matthews has at least a 2 2/3 chance to score a goal, basically, like a 66% chance.
Here's the way I look at it. I think going into every game, Austin Matthews has somewhere between a 60 and 70% chance to score for the Maple Leafs. Why? Because just look at the amount of time he's on the ice in that game. He's on the ice for more than a third of the game. And he's the guy that is factoring in on 50% of their goals on a nightly basis.
Yeah. So 60% implies about minus 150, which is maybe where it kind of should be. So, I mean, is Austin Matthews scoring 6 of 10 games? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this pace he is right now.
Like, I think that's just an average. I think the pace is up now with the form and the matchup. I think that goes to at least 66% today. Is this a play based on him being in his hometown? It's a collection of a lot of things. I think in a regular matchup versus any team, let's say versus, I don't know, Vegas, at Vegas, on the road versus Vegas, you still put him at 60%, 55 to 60% to score in those games. Add in a matchup versus a team who's lost 10 straight, who has no number one goalie, who is getting pointed on heavily by number one teams like Connor McDavid running up the total, and add in the Arizona angle, add in the 49th goal angle. There's a lot of green check marks when you look at it. Yeah, so that's
hometown is definitely a strong angle, but I think everything that is being presented coming into the hometown at this moment are bigger factors, I think. I mean, he's got his 49th goal going into this game. You don't think he wants to score 50 in his hometown? It's a strong incentive.
So there's lots of angles there. So you could say if he has that drive, then take a look at his over 4.5 shots. I believe it's minus 115. It's not a number he's hit a lot. So, but again, there's a lot of angles sitting there on that.
So FB coach is asking me as a player, does getting 50 against you matter? Well, yeah, you never want to be the guy on the ice that's, on the wrong side of history or a milestone moment, but unfortunately, there's not much you can do in that situation if you're not on the ice against him, and he's still got to beat a goalie. So I don't know.
Yeah, with old Alex Kerfoot jumping back up to that top line. Hey, by the way, he's on that top line with Hayton and Schmaltz. Not PP1, but he's up there on that top line if you're into the revenge angle, which I think is sometimes just out there, not really meaning much. But Kerfoot, as I try to bring up the price for Kerfoot, I don't even think he has a market just because he's been buried on playing third line minutes. Points, Kerfoot. Don't got it. Sorry. Not there, but something there. So I do like in that game. Do like Matthews, 1.5. Do like Nyes at even money. Let's just look at this Boston-Edmonton game. There's an angle that I want to ask you a question about before we F off here. Boston struggled 2-3-2 over that 7-game home trip following the All-Star break. And they squeaked out a massive shootout win versus Dallas where they had to score in the final minute with the extra attacker and then win in a gigantic shootout that went 10 shooters or something.
Yeah.
Edmonton's coming back from an Arizona game. Okay. Boston's a plus 120 road favorite here. Does the quality of opponent mean much when you head to, obviously Boston wants to get out of town, happy to get on that road trip, but is there anything there to see Edmonton played a crap Arizona team and Boston had a better strong opponent and a better game, more competitive game heading into this meeting? Is there anything there? Can a strength of opponent bring your play down coming into the next game?
Yeah, absolutely it can, but it can also bring your play up. I mean, we always talk about, playing down the competition, playing up the competition. I think when you look at this matchup, Boston sat idle yesterday and watched Florida win and overtake them in the division, right? Boston has been a really, really good home team this year, 18-7-5, but they've also replicated that same record on the road where they're 15-5-6. For Edmonton, I think there's more incentive for them in this game than Boston. I think Edmonton's a deeper team, and I think Boston, they find ways to win more games they shouldn't when they're at home versus on the road. So this is a very difficult matchup to handicap. Obviously, Edmonton is a way better home team than they are on the road. And I think when you're talking about incentive playing up the competition, playing down the competition, for Edmonton, you're looking at Boston, you're saying, okay, these guys are a serious cup contender. What type of game are we going to present to these guys, knowing that this is the type of competition we're going to have to beat if we're serious about winning a cup? So the argument can be made for both sides. I would side with Edmonton on this one just because going out west is always tougher in the first game than it is in the later parts of the game because you're still getting used to a lot of the other factors, time change, the weather, the dryness out west, which most people don't know. The dry air out there and the dry skin can play a factor with your and mess with your sleep. I know when I used to go to Vancouver, actually more Edmonton and Calgary, and I'd ask for a humidifier in my room because it would just get so dry with the thin air out there. So, and again, they're two good teams. It's really hard to handicap, but if I was to pick one, I'd lean with Edmonton on this one because, I think playing against Arizona you didn't really see their best game, but they found a way to win because they're a good team. I think you'll see their best tonight.
All right. We're adding this last one.
Oh.
Boosh, assist, plus 105. Did you know that the Boston power play over the last 30 days is at 9%, 31st in hockey.
Boston's power play?
Yeah. Their PK, their PK, 68%, 28th. This is a team that is reeling in special teams. Edmonton's power plays 35%, and even Edmonton's penalty kill, 60%. We might see some power play opportunities going back and forth because, once one team gets one, the refs are just looking for
trying to even it up.
Absolutely. And Boston on the year, bottom 5 in penalties taken. So let's go with Bush. Bush is plus 210 for a power play point. Let's wiggle that down just to an assist at plus 105. Zaka maybe on the other side worth a sniff at plus 325, centering that top power play unit for Boston. If one scores, look for the other one to get some opportunities. So we'll wrap things up there with the Bouchard assist at plus 105, playing at the top at that power play unit. Kicking things off on the night game, Matthews over 1.5 points for plus 140. Also sniffing knives for a point on that side. Philly, Chicago, let's go. Morgan Frost centering. Konechny riding that 6-game point streak, facing Chicago, who's scoring, which could lead to more goals, maybe some empty net opportunities for Philadelphia. Frost, minus 105 for a point. Buffalo, dad's trip. Let's go. Stay away from the bars, boys, but oh boy, they should be happy. Montreal, what a city to do it in. Plus 120 win in regulation, and then Bouchard in the big game on the another night game there for an assist. Plus 105. Let's do 4 plays here.
Well, hey, Brett Armstrong mentions too, Bouchard plus 210 for a power play point. You talked about the penalty kill?
I said plus 210. I said it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said. We'll wiggle it down to an assist at plus 105.
Okay. All right.
But the power play point is certainly in effect with how many penalties that Boston's taking and their lack of special teams. 9%, 31st power play over the last 30 days. Boston is happy to get out of town. Absolutely. Joe Osborne in the chat. He says, let's go Blue Jackets.
Joey, right. Yes.
Oh,
this guy's betting hockey now. I love it.
Blue Jackets money line.
All right.
Back to back. Anaheim.
They're playing in Anaheim. How is there a favorite in that game?
They're plus 110. They're on the road. They played yesterday.
Wow.
We'll see how it goes. But it's dry in Arizona too. Yep. Old Uncle Carlo needs a humidifier when he goes down that way too.
Yes.
Yeah. His rider list. All right. Appreciate everybody there in the chat. Joe, Darren, Brett, JT Eel, Neil Green, FB Coach, Gerald Kentz, who's also on that Blue Jackets money line. Brett, Stir and Co. Everybody there, Cooch. Appreciate it. Hit that like button if you can before we get out of here. That's what we got. Thanks to Carlo. Thanks to producer Mick. Thanks to Sports Interaction. This covers this NHL Puck Prop. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. More live picks. Lead us out, pal.
And thanks for Josh. Ciao.